ASEA, the name of the company is ASEA. The technology is called Redox Signalling Molecules. Greatest scientific medical breakthrough of our lifetime. So this business is based on word of mouth, and often people ask, why would they deliver this to market by word of mouth? I'm very grateful that they did build it this way and distribute it this way. The reason they had to choose this way was you can't sit it on a pharmacy shelf. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what redox signaling molecules are. Even in the markets where we've been ensconced now for a decade in America, less than 1% of the population even knows about redox signaling molecules. So this enables every single person to generate a serious income on a part-time basis without changing what they're currently doing and without selling. So this is a process of educating. What we do is share this technology with people. Some people are looking for an opportunity and some people are not. When I came to this a few years ago, I was looking for an opportunity, and so I came to this, very much for the business opportunity. ASEA is a global leader in redox signaling-based health and anti-aging technologies, redox signaling molecules. This is the only company on planet Earth that produces these redox molecules. We run 49 patents over these redox signaling molecules, rolling forward for 20 years. So nobody else is in this space. So from a businessman's point of view, one of the things I love about this technology, I don't compete with anybody. This is not a super juice, it's not an antioxidant, it's not a vitamin, it's not a pill, it's not a potion. These are redox signaling molecules and they're native to the human body, so very unique technology. This is the gentleman I was talking about on the left-hand side of the screen, Vertus Norton. There's a very good video you can watch called The Genesis of ASEA. It explains exactly how he came about acquiring the technology. I won't go through that this evening, but he would be one of the most significant men that I've ever met in my lifetime. And of course on the right-hand side of the screen is his son. So Vertus now has kind of stepped down from running the company, and his son Tyler now is the CEO, runs this company. Based on 10 years of research before the products were launched into the market in 2010, the company has been profitable every year, financially strong. The company carries no long-term debt. Sales exceed 100 million in 2017. Last year, 2018, we reached 123. This year, we should do somewhere between 150 and 180 million dollars turnover, and reach $1 billion within the next 5 years. A lot of the volume from now on will come in the Asian markets. So, a huge market. We sit in the area of the world's highest population through Asia. To put that in perspective, the company's now been operational for 10 years. The largest market is the United States. Taiwan started with its technology early last year. It is now the second largest market in the world. Very fast. The Asians, for those of you who don't know, are passionate about anti-aging. Anything that helps them to look younger, age better, and this technology has no toxicity. So it's incredible. The largest organisation I run in this country is Chinese down in Melbourne. Very large organisations, and also now through Asia. So ASEA is perfectly positioned ahead of the growth that will come in the next 3 years. These are the three markets that we work in: the health, wellness, and anti-aging industries. This kind of just gives you on the left-hand side, it shows you some of the management of the company. These are some of the finest people I've ever done business with in my whole lifetime. And on the right-hand side, you see a lot of the people on the medical board. There are a lot of doctors, a lot of naturopaths, chiropractors, people from the medical profession that are helping to deliver this technology to the market. And it's probably the reason that the company has been slower to grow, I think, than it probably should have been. In my opinion, this should have been $1 billion company already. But what happened was a lot of the people that engaged with this company in the early stages were from a medical background. They were doctors, they were naturopaths, chiropractors, osteopaths, delivering it to their patients one at a time, seeing the benefits of their patients and delivering it to a customer or a patient 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. You can deliver this by the product, but it's a slower way of building it. I build this around the business. What I do is I look for the visionaries, I look for the entrepreneurs, people that are in the looking zone, and I found people either are in the looking zone or they're not in the looking zone. People are looking for an opportunity or they're not looking for an opportunity. So I build it on that way, which is the reason I think that the business is growing so quickly, and a lot of the builders around the world are starting to kind of replicate this. So we're now involved in 35 countries. around the world. So I think there's 150, 160 countries in the world totally. You can see we're literally just starting into the markets of the world. Some of the markets aren't even highlighted there, some of the ones in Asia. So in the Asian region, we're now involved. We're open in Hong Kong, fully open in Hong Kong, fully open in Singapore, fully open in Taiwan, fully open in Thailand, just about to go fully launched into the Philippines, and also into Malaysia. Malaysia will be another Taiwan. I'm already seeing phenomenal growth in Malaysia, even though it's only been open a few weeks. It's very fast on this kind of technology and this method of distributing these products into the market. So these are the three markets that we work in: the health and wellness, the beauty and anti-aging, and the athletic performance markets. And you can see they're $4 trillion yearly. What we bring to the table with this technology is this is the only company in the world that produces these redox molecules. We don't compete with anybody else. I don't doubt there's some very good super juicers, but there's 146 of them in this space. So we don't compete with any of those other technologies, which is incredibly unique. The health and wellness group and the beauty and anti-aging group, those people are very happy to share this technology with other people. We found that the athletic people in the athletic realm, they don't share it with anybody. If they get a benefit from this technology, they don't want to share it with anybody that might compete with them. So that's a one category. But we believe that within the next 5 years, most of the world's top athletes will be on the product. You can't be tested for it, it's not a drug. So products that do things that no other products can do, because they're the only products in the world that contains these redox signaling molecules. This lady on the left, I know her story. In fact, I know this lady on the top left. Her name is Rejuvenation. She's a 40-year veteran. She's a naturopath in Norway, and a friend of hers from America sent her some of the gel, the Renew 28, which is the topical version of the redox molecules. And after a couple of weeks, she phoned her friend and said, "Look, I just don't think that this technology is doing very much for me." And her friend said, "By any chance, did you take a photo when you started?" She said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "Well, have a look at the photo when you started, top left." And this was the photo underneath was 3 weeks later. And she said, "Oh wow, I think something is happening within 3 weeks." And so you can see the photos of before and after, even with common wrinkles, and you can see the difference. Now, what's interesting about this gel is you can see what it does on the outside. You can't always see what the product does on the inside, but you can see very visibly what the technology does on the outside. This is a skincare range that the company produced in 2016. The two products on the left-hand side do not contain redox molecules, and the two on the right-hand side do. The one on the far right is the Renew 28. That is the topical version of the redox signaling molecules. That is 3 to 5 times more concentrated than the supplement. And then the little needle nose next to it is a serum, and that is then 3 to 5 times more concentrated than the Renew 28. So you would use the serum on your face, you'd use it on scarring. You can use it all over your body, you can use it anywhere, but it's just a lot more expensive than the Renew 28. So you've got plenty of money, use the serum everywhere. So this is the marquee product. This was the first product that the company was able to stabilise after 17 years. This is really the marquee product, and was developed, stabilised around 2009. Here we're seeing some of the athletes. The gentleman at the top left, Cody Miller, won gold recently in Rio. The gentleman down the bottom right is Eddie Hall, powerlifter, British powerlifter. I think he's the strongest man on the planet. Just deadlifted a few months ago 500 kilos. Keeps beating his own record. He's an ASEA sponsored athlete. So here's the Redox supplement, and then the Renew 28, which is a topical version. So let's just kind of dive into what redox molecules do and what's so significant. So they're naturally produced inside every cell. They detect cell damage so they can be repaired or replaced. So this is a cellular health technology, and all of us in here are cellular creations. We're from the cellular level, so are animals and so are plants. Oftentimes people say to me, "Oh, when people ingest this, there must be some kind of placebo benefit." And I say, "Well, all right, then put a rose in water and put a rose in redox. The rose in the redox will outlive the rose in the water by about a week. You can't tell a rose that it's got placebo. There is no placebo in a plant, and there is no placebo in dogs or animals or racehorses." But people say these things sometimes. So detect cell damage so they can be repaired or replaced. It increases the cell's production of glutathione, the most powerful antioxidant that protects against cell damage and oxidative stress. Fundamental for the immune system, protecting against harmful bacteria, viruses and infection. So people ask, why would I take these molecules if I have them in my body? Why would I then take a supplement with these redox signaling molecules? And the answer to that is that we maximise the production of these redox molecules at puberty. So somewhere between 12 and 15 years of age, we maximise the production of these redox signaling molecules. And then every decade past puberty, we drop production by about 10%. We reduce the production by about 1% per annum. So at my age, I'm producing probably 15% to 20% of what I was producing when I was at puberty. So we can top up so that we can carry on like teenagers still. This is probably now the fastest growing area of medical science in the world right now. If you go to pubmed.gov, to publicmedicine.gov, it's a US-based government site, you'll be able to Google, go to PubMed and Google and research redox molecules in heart disease, redox molecules in cancer, redox molecules in diabetes. Diabetes is a known redox disease, and so is cancer, redox diseases. Over 17,000 peer-reviewed articles and 1,500 books that have been published on redox signaling. You can try and read some of these books. Good luck. It's like a different language. It's a complex subject. There are some books that are quite simple to read, and I'll show you one in a minute that Dr. Gary Samuelson has written that's quite user-friendly. For decades, scientists have tried to produce redox signaling molecules outside of the body because of their significant importance for health and vitality, but were deemed impossible to be able to stabilise outside the human body. So after 2 decades and millions of research dollars, ASEA scientists managed to produce stabilised redox signaling molecules in perfect balance, exactly as found in healthy cells. About 18 months ago, we ran a webinar with healthcare practitioners around Australia and New Zealand, and on that webinar we had a man who was a scientist from Adelaide, one of those men with more degrees than a thermometer behind his name, and he said, to give you an idea how impossible this was to create, he said it would be like taking an empty bottle and pouring in 50% boiling water and 50% cold water, and they don't mix. It doesn't mix. He said that's how impossible it was to stabilise and produce these redox signaling molecules. So again, a lot of the scientists in America said you'll never be able to stabilise it, you'll never be able to hold these in a stable format. So this is the plant, which is in Utah. This plant will produce $1 billion worth of turnover. They own the block of land next door. We can scale this to $3 billion at least very quickly. And, our growth is increasing about 50%. Last year we'll grow 50% again this year. So we're on the J. Well, it's really on the J curve. One of the things people often say with this technology is because its core elements are salt, and pristine salt, pristine water, and oftentimes people say, well, it's just expensive salt water. And if you've been around the business a little while, you'll have people that will say that to you. It's just expensive salt water. This company that you're seeing here down the bottom, this is BioAgilytix, is an independent laboratory who actually works. They operate for 20 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies in the world, and they verify that every single batch that's produced by ASEA is full of these bioactive redox signaling molecules. They would dare not to put their name to any bottle of ASEA that contained bioactive redox signaling molecules. In fact, if that was not the case, they've got too much to lose working for, their core business is working for these other companies. So this is the gentleman that I was mentioning that I met way back in 2014 in the boardroom. So this is Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist, and this is the book that he wrote. And he says the redox signaling process is remarkable because it is a process that allows us to regenerate tissue and maintain our normal function and capacities. This technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. He was interviewed in public forum about 80 months ago, and he said in that interview, he said, I believe this may be the most significant health breakthrough we'll see in the next 100 years. Not 100 years past, in the next 100 years. And you can imagine some of the breakthroughs we may yet to see, but in his words, he said this may be the most significant that we'll see in the next 100 years. This gentleman is a chiropractor from the United States. We call him the half-faced man. So he wanted to actually see if this technology would work. So he used the Renew 28 on just one side of his face. and you can clearly see which side of the face he used the product on. And you can actually have a look at the glasses. It almost looks like the glasses. It looks like he's got Bell's palsy on one side of his face. So on the right-hand side of his face, obviously used the product. He doesn't do this anymore with the way he's kind of levelled it up, so he uses the product on both sides of his face. This is another gentleman who used the Renew 28 twice a day for 3 days, then once a day for 3 days. Most people with this technology see results within 30 to 90 days. So the protocol on this after 10 years in the market now, about 10% of people see a response within a week. About 30% will see a response in 30 days, 60% in 60 days, and 90% in 90 days. There are some that take longer. My dear old aunt, who was 86, took her 4.5 months to get a major breakthrough with an issue she'd been having for 46 years. So it just depends on the cells, depends on the age and how long people have had the condition. So this works for young people too, with, you can tell what kind of skin problem that is. This was the issue that I was mentioning before, the skin problem that I've had for 43 years. And it's an autoimmune-based problem, and nothing I've ever tried. I've been to, I don't know how many doctors, dozens and dozens over the years, and everyone said the same thing: you'll never remove it, you'll never get rid of it. It's an autoimmune problem. So mine is pretty much gone now. So this is a lady just with some blemishes, but just have a look on the left-hand side of the screen. Just look underneath the red square. Just have a look at the lines on her neck, so you can see that while we highlight the blemishes, you can see also the difference in the lines. What's easy to test with this product range is with the topical applications. You can clearly see the results. So on the left-hand side, this is the Renew 28 study. Stevens and Associates is a big American company, independent laboratory. And you can see the results. The most significant one on the left-hand side is a 50% increase in blood flow from using the technology. On the right-hand side, this is a German company called Dermatest, and they've given these products. They tested the serum, the Redox serum. They gave this product a 5-star rating. They won't give a 5-star rating to any product if any one of the respondents has any kind of issue. They won't give a 5-star rating. So they've given this a 5-star rating. I mean, look at the numbers on the right-hand side. In anybody's language, they're pretty impressive. After 4 weeks, 9% of the trial participants said they wanted to purchase the products. My own experience is that once people use these products, it's incredibly sticky. The retention that people continue to take the products is very, very sticky on a global basis. So what happens when our body, when we drink the same molecules that are found in Renew Advanced? So the point here is you can't always see what's going on the inside of your body, but you can externally. It's the same technology, it's exactly the same product, exactly the same base. Redox molecules are redox molecules. So the redox molecules that you have in your body are the same redox molecules that are in that bottle. Redox molecules are redox molecules. And so, again, a very significant health breakthrough. ASEA replenishes the very redox molecules that improve cell renewal and help every system of our body to function optimally at every age. People that, even people that report that they're well, report less fatigue, better sleep, improved health, improved mood, and less discomfort. And they're amongst people that are well. Oftentimes we find people that say they're really well once they're on the product. If there is a problem, the Redox will reveal a problem. We've had many cases where people that thought they were really well and really healthy, and then within 4 to 6 weeks after being on the product, being on the technology, we find that there's something going on. Athletic performance, improved athletic performance. One of the most significant athletes that we've had taking this technology, there's an American man called James Lawrence. Does everybody know what an Ironman event is? So in 2015, James Lawrence he did 50 Ironman events in 50 days in 50 states in America. It'll probably never be done again, but so just think about that, 50 Ironman events in 50 days in 50 different states. That's pretty impressive. And he drank 3 bottles a day, 3 bottles of the Redox a day to back up so he could go again the next day. So he's the person that I've come across that's drunk the most. And generally, even people that are seriously ill would only take 1 bottle per day, maximum 1 to 1.5 bottles a day, but he drank 3 bottles a day. So again, completely can't hurt you. Some of the other athletes, there's a very good website there for we share with athletes who report increased stamina and endurance. This is interesting. Has everybody heard of the Huffington Post?
Yes.
So this was from an article in 2016. I'll just read this to you. Here are 5 of the craziest game-changing technologies that are starting to take off in 2016. Pay attention, some of these will shape our lives in the coming years. Number 1, organic electronics, nutrigenomics, synthetic biology. Number 4, redox signaling technology. Redox signaling molecules have been around for eons, but it isn't until very recently we've learned about their central importance in our health on a cellular level. New technologies are emerging that inserts healthy redox signaling molecules into your body, helping to repair and replenish your aging cells. Since we are made up entirely of cells, every organ in the body can potentially benefit from this technology. So this was from an article in Huffington Post, June 2016. Okay, let's just go into the business plan. So again, this is built word of mouth, and if you look at the best way of moving a product into the world, word of mouth is the best way of moving a product to the market. This technology needed that. It needs explanation. It needs to be explained. The dosage needs to be explained. How it works needs to be explained because nobody knows about it. Still with the markets we operate in, less than 1% of the population even heard of it. You walk down Queen Street tomorrow and you ask 100 people, have you ever heard of redox molecules? I would be surprised if one of them says, I've heard of it. If you walk down Fifth Avenue in New York, I'd be surprised if 1 in 1,000 had heard of it. We're still very early days getting this to market. We're doing the very best we can to get this out to the world, but we need more entrepreneurs, more visionary people to help us to drive this into the markets of the world. So if you refer your contacts to us, you'll get paid every time they use the product. This is volume based. So if you create a little volume, you'll create a little income. If you create huge volume, you'll create huge volume. It's built on numbers. So if you build a group of 3 people, you won't get paid a lot of money. You can build a group of 30,000 people, 300,000 people, 3 million people, you get paid a lot of money. It is about building organisations and creating distribution channels for this technology around the world. Once built properly, it creates residual income. If you build it properly, it'll grow without you. That's what you want. You want to have a business that is replenishing and growing without you. Most of the people in my organisation don't know me, never heard of me, and I like that. I like that most of them don't know who I am, and the business is growing very well without me. In fact, it seems that the more I go away, the better it does. I think sometimes I slow it down maybe. But it's residual income when built properly. And I know everybody wants residual income by the end of October, but it's going to take a process. And the process with this business is somewhere between 9 months and 3 years. If you build it quickly, you can build it very fast. I have a friend in America, Leland Duck, who had a very severe autoimmune problem. That this technology helped. He was a big Texan cattle rancher, big unit, big man, and he was bedridden. Couldn't even open a bottle of water. I started with the redox, and within 6 weeks was back to full operational health. Started to take this to market within 14 weeks. Went from $0 to $25,000 in 14 weeks. Not bad.
How much?
What did I say?
You just said
$25,000 a month within 14 weeks. Now he's now not the fastest. People in Taiwan are doing it way faster than that, but in our society, in the Western world, the Chinese are hard workers. They work very hard. Asians work very hard, so they tend to be very fast on this technology. I'm watching it happen in Malaysia right now. They're just explosive with this technology. But most of us in here, that would not be one of you in here that would not like residual income. Every one of you wants residual income. Every person that I've ever met wants residual income. And there's only 2 ways you can create residual income. That's with enough assets. You probably need $15 million of unencumbered assets to do life properly, I think, in this country. Most people won't do that. This is another way of creating residual income from a business that you can become involved in, not capital-based, but it is effort-based. And it is having a little bit of courage to get out there and share it with people. So it's effort-based. So the business model, you'll be paid from people your contacts refer and the people they refer. When you build it properly, it will grow organically around the world. As their friends tell friends and tell friends and so on, you can earn residual income from over 30 countries and growing every year. In this way, we create distribution channels, which is what I do. I create distribution channels. I have organisations organisations now in all 35 countries around the world. Most of them I didn't introduce people to. They came from people that I'd introduced here to introduce somebody, and it just creates just these distribution channels all over the planet. So this is kind of how it works. It works on simply finding the right people. And building a business like this is no different really to building a traditional business. In a traditional business, you're going to find your key people. I'd look for my chief marketing executive, finance executive, accounts executive, sales executive. I'd look for the key people. So I look for, when I build this, I look for people who are entrepreneurial, I look for people that are visionary, I look for people that have a reason to build it. I can't give you that. If you haven't got a reason, this is interesting, I would suggest you take the product. But it's for people who are looking and have a reason to create residual income and want something more out of their life. So you can build your distribution channels in the Americas, through the European community, and also into the Asian countries. In my opinion, the Asian market will be the biggest. It's half the world's population. They sit on our doorstep, and it's called Australasia for a reason. We don't call it America-Asia or Europe-Asia. This is Australasia. Most of us know people who know people in Asia. So you'll know somebody, you'll know somebody, you'll know somebody. So the organisations will spread into. I think there's. Anyway, there's billions and billions of people in the Asian region, so a very big market. So what you do is completely up to you. Businesses are designed to do part-time around your existing schedule. I have people in my organisation building this for an extra $1,000 a month. I have people building this for an extra $500,000 a month. So what you do is what you get is what you decide you want. The income is not limited. There is no limit on the income. There is no cap. We don't have any salary cap. We have an effort cap. It's up to you. Depends on what you want in terms of the income. The highest income earned at the moment is earning a little north of $300,000 US per month, and a lady, a housewife from Boise, Idaho. In fact, the two top income earners are both women with this company. Imagine what that'll be in the next 10 years. It just becomes organic once you build it properly. As in any business, there's a cost to get started. This is not a capital-based business, so you don't need to be wealthy to build this. In fact, there's very little barrier to entry. For most people in Australia, $60 shouldn't be a barrier to entry. In fact, in most parts of the world, it's not a barrier to entry. But it's easy to do on $60 and easy not to do. It's an easy business to build. You know, if it's $60,000 or $600,000, more people will be putting more effort into it. So it's not built on capital, it is built on enterprise, built on effort. There are various packages, I won't go through those this evening. 8 different ways to generate income, and very generous comp plan. 50% of all the money that ASEA receives is returned to the associates around the world. Divided unequally amongst those that do the work. It's free enterprise, it's kind of fair. Those that don't do anything don't actually make anything. Is that fair? I think it's fair. Called free enterprise. Some people don't like that, but that's kind of the way it seems to work in the free enterprise system. So very generous compensation plan. There's lots of different reward trips that are available. And next year we have 3 reward trips available. One is to Dubrovnik, the other is to Rome, and the other one is to Bora Bora. You have to get your skates on to go for that one, but the other 2 are you're very capable of qualifying for. Business is simple, anyone can do it. It works incredibly well. Very simple. We have a lot of training. This is a very good analogy of how the business works. Everybody starts as an associate, everybody starts at the same place, and then you work your way up the mountain. How far you got the mountain really depends on the size of your vision, your dream, your capacity to work, and deal with the market. The biggest challenge we have in building a business like this is, what do you think it is?
People.
Exactly, people. That most of the people I talk to, what do you think they say to me, yes or no?
No.
Once you deal with that, it's easy. It's just people haven't heard of this, they don't understand it, misunderstand the marketing model. They're not in the looking zone. If you can learn to put up with that, you can. So I'm neutral to that. Whatever people do doesn't affect where I'm going or what I'm doing, because I know somebody's looking. I know somebody is looking. Somebody's in the looking zone, exactly as I was 3.5 years ago. You know, desperately looking for an alternative, a way to come back. I got zeroed late in life and desperately looking for a way to come back. So you can climb up the mountain. Let me give you a couple of income guidelines. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bronze executive. At bronze executive, you'll make somewhere around in Australia $2,500 to $3,000 a month. You see 2 levels up, gold executive. At Gold Executive, you'll make $8,000 to $10,000. I was just talking about Malaysia. I just had a lady do that in the first week in Malaysia. First week. So you get into some of these markets and their work ethic is different, let me just say that. Their work ethic is very different. So you can see why I'm keen building it in Australia, but I'm keener to get it out of Australia. Because when we go up into Asia, it's a very different perception, and the way they build the business is totally different to the way it's built here. So my advice to you, if you want to engage this, is build it in Asia as quickly as you possibly can. That's where the numbers are, and that's where the growth will be. Moving up, you can see the diamond level, 15 to 20,000. Triple diamond in Australia, somewhere around 35 to 40,000. And then beyond triple diamond, you go another 6 levels up. They may introduce some more levels above that, but at the moment, the 6 levels above the triple diamond. So for most people in Australia, when I talk to them, anywhere between 15,000 and 50,000, for most people is reasonable. It's kind of like, you know, it's a reasonably good income. You'll also receive help and training on the steps you take to top of ASEA's leadership mountain. But we don't force anybody to do anything. This is a voluntary army. People are there, you know, for me, I just look for the people that get it. They're ready to go, they're looking at this and say, I get it. It should be like waving raw meat in front of a savage dog. You know what I mean?
You're right, it should be.
It should be, but it's not with anyone. And so if somebody doesn't respond like that, they're probably not looking for me, and I'm not looking for them. I'm not offended by it. It's just they're not looking, that's fine, no problems at all. When you open your account, you have access to your own virtual office. I am not high tech, but the virtual office is really easy even for me to navigate around. So it's really simple. And I'm not saying that. Those that know me, I'm not very technological at all. Let me just go back. ASEA will become one of the biggest companies within the health, wellness and anti-aging industries of all time. That is an absolute fact. Again, if you go back to the comment that Dr. Gary Samuelson made before, if this is the most significant health breakthrough since penicillin, if it is, just think how significant this is, and you're seeing it's still very early days. In my opinion, this will be a 10, 20, 30, $40 billion company within the next 10 or 15 years. It has to be. It's a much bigger breakthrough than antioxidants. When did anybody hear of antioxidants for the first time? When did you hear from antioxidants?
20 years, yeah.
80s?
Yeah, probably about 20 years ago.
20 years? When were antioxidants?
Maybe more than 20.
When were they developed?
I don't know, but I think I have a younger sister who used to bang on about it, and I'm going, what the hell are those things?
1920s they were developed. Now, everything that comes to market, the lead time is shorter and shorter and shorter. The time to get into the market is shorter and shorter. So it's not going to take us 60 years to get this through. It won't. It will be way quicker than that. ASEA will become one of the biggest companies within the health, wellness and anti-aging industries of all time. We have no toxicity. This is a technology that's native to the human body. So there's 3 types of products you'll take for wellness. One is pharmaceutical, chemical based. The next generation is natural, goji juice, orange juice, apple juice, natural. This is the next generation on. This is native. These molecules are native to the human body. This is probably 15, 20 years ahead of its time. Your mindset, you're looking to identify and refer us to people who want to make some changes right now. Again, what I look for as business people, I look for people, and let me qualify that by saying, if I knew you had a major illness, I'm not going to talk to you about the business. I'm going to talk to you about the technology. But let me just put that proviso in there. So if I know somebody's unwell, seriously unwell, I will have that conversation, and I will connect you with one of the medical practitioners in my business. We'll answer your questions and teach you about this technology. But commercially, this is what we look for. We look for the business builder. If you've never built a business like this before, when you take anything like this to the public, you're going to be dealing with people. I've been doing this. I've been in this space. If my friend Danny was here, he'd tell you since 1910. It's actually not been since 1910. It's been since 1980. I've been dealing with people like this. I use a word about people that they're interesting. You know what I mean? People are kind of interesting. So when you build a business like this, it will be interesting for you too, some of the things that people say. And you will maybe go on a bit of an emotional roller coaster. And the key is to neutralise that emotional roller coaster. Avoid the highs and avoid the lows. They're both imposters. Just treat this emotionally neutral. So when I go to market with this, whatever people respond, however the response is fine. If it's a yes, great. If it's a no, great. I don't get emotionally up high and low. If you go like that, I'm really excited, really depressed, really excited, really depressed, really excited, really depressed, and that's the end of the first day. It'll be a long trip. You know, if you've got a plumbing business, you go out and quote 10 plumbing jobs, you don't get 10 jobs, you get 3. Well, you don't go and cry. You don't go and slash your wrists and say, well, this will never work. It's just numbers. If you can treat this is about numbers, and then it's about relationships. You can't have a relationship with everybody in your business. My group is approaching 30,000 people. I can't have a relationship with 30,000 people, but I do have relationships with my key guys. I work with the key guys, I mentor the key guys, train the key guys on how to build organisations if they want me to. I'm not going to force you to get rich against your will. I wouldn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? If somebody's not looking, that's fine. That's no problems at all. So you find the people that are looking and help guide them, work with them, and coach them on building a business. But build it emotionally neutral, so you're not going through people say, what do you think? Are they going to do? I said, I don't know. I'd go see somebody else. Tomorrow I'm talking to other people. I know sooner or later I will attract the right people. Because what do monkeys produce?
Monkeys.
What do rabbits produce?
Rabbits.
What do fish produce?
Fishes.
What do leaders produce?
Leaders.
What do weenies produce?
Weenies.
Weenies. So you will get who you are. You will attract into your organisation who you are. If you're a weenie, you're going to get weenies. I promise you. You will get who you are, like it or not. So if you look at your organisation, it's a reflection of who you are. If you don't like it, we can change. We can change. But there are laws that govern the planet. As Jim Rohn said, if you don't like those laws, well, get your own planet. You know, right in this one, we're a guest. So these are the laws that we work with. So when we go to market, we come across 3 types of people. We call them the red apples. They look at this and say, look, I get it. Okay, let's get into this. You don't need to know everything about this. It's not like, well, I need to know everything about redox molecules. You don't. You just need to kind of get the science and get the breakthrough and get the significance of it. And that should be enough. The rest, we can kind of teach you over a period of time. The green apples are kind of questions. Okay, with the green apples, we're going to move them up to a red or we're going to move them down. You don't sit in the middle. If you sit in the middle of the road, you're going to get hit one way or the other. Life is about making decisions. And, you know, the greatest businessmen of all time make decisions very quickly. And they change them very slowly. They move the decision very fast and move away very slowly. And then we have what we call the rotten apples. Not rotten people, they're just not looking. And some people I've found in the years that I've been in the industry, I see people and they're just not who I'm looking for. We're kind of not drawn to each other. Does that make sense? So they're not really in the looking zone. They probably don't look for much, I don't know. But this is when you go to market, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find all of these kinds of people and accept it. That's the way it is. If you deal with a business like this, build it up emotionally. You know, every so often you're going to find a red apple, and other days you're going to find some rotten ones and some green ones. That's kind of the nature of building a business like ours, and I found that it won't change. I mean, some people want to go straight to the red apples. If I knew how to do that, I would. I probably wouldn't be here if I could do that. I wouldn't need to be here. But it's about processing and going through the numbers to find the red apples. Cream rises to the top in a business like this. It does. The cream will rise to the top. So it's a simple system. You know, if you're a red apple, you'll likely attract a red apple, but if you're a green one, you'll probably find green ones. And if you're a different kind of apple, you'll probably attract those kind of apples. So you understand what I'm saying nicely? Not really nice. So the goal is to find these, but you won't just go straight to them. There'll be a process of going through the numbers to find them. I know every single one of you want to find the big hitters. You want to find the people that get this straight away and just get on it. And like the lady in Malaysia, that rank in a week, we're all looking for people like that. But they're not that common. But as you grow your numbers, the numbers grow, you'll find more and more of them. That's the nature of our business. This is a convention we've just had, and many of us have come back from this conference in Las Vegas, or Las Vegas as we call it. And the one next year is in Anaheim in California. This is a conference once a year. We bring all the key leaders from around the world. We get together and listen to where the company's going, the future, where the company's up to, some of the new countries that we're launched into. So I mentioned we just launched in Malaysia. We believe the next one will be Japan, and then we'll roll through the rest of the Asian countries, and within the next 5 years we will roll, our hope is we roll into every single country around the world. Remember, the company is owned by the man who was the strategic vice president for Kraft. He's a very clever businessman, very strategic. We won't grow too fast. In fact, in 2011 he slowed the company down. We're growing too fast. So he wanted the systems in place so we could grow properly and everything. So I've never had, in 3.5 years, I've never had a delivery that's been late or it's a very well run company, as you would expect from the people that that own the company. So what now? Cool person invited you, join us in the business. You have two options. You can simply use the product. You're most welcome. I would encourage you to use the product. Every person in the world and every animal in the world should be taking this technology. You should be. The earlier you do it, the better position you'll be if you join us in the business. If you want to just use the product, become an associate, because if I said to you, would you rather pay wholesale or retail? I'm going with wholesale. I'm Scottish. I want to pay wholesale, not retail. So most people, when I ask that question, everybody says, I'll pay wholesale. So you become an associate. You get a position in the binary anyway. That's it. Very good.